presentation?
We can see.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you to the CBIT-GSP for the opportunity to show what Panama has done with the CBIT project and how it has helped the country to move forward trying to implement the enhanced transparency framework. In the experience that I'm going to show, it's the Panama experience with a project that really was very successful and started back in 2020, at the end of 2020, and finished on November 2022. But first, to give you a little of background of the project, Panama was one of the first countries to ratify the Paris Agreement back in 2016. On April of 2016, the country approved a law that basically approved the Paris Agreement. And since then, it has started progressively to improve all the arrangements trying to complement the current laws and regulations in order to be able to comply with the Paris Agreement and specifically with the enhanced transparency framework. Back in 2018, the Ministry of Environment conceived the idea of a climate transparency platform, and it saw the CBIT as the opportunity to make this happen. And therefore, they prepared a concept note and applied for the CBIT project, but in 2018. And while it was being approved and all the administrative processes, the country started to arrange the institutional arrangements necessary for the project and for the Paris Agreement to be implemented in the country. That's why, as part of this, in February 2020, the country also approved the Escazú Agreement, which is very important for transparency matters, and it's even broader. It's not just focused on climate change, but it's very important and it's a key element on transparency for the country. Also, in 2020, in October, the country the president signed an executive decree that creates in our law and regulations the climate transparency platform and gives the mandate to develop this platform to be the centralized platform with all the information on climate change to also help basically two main goals. One is to help the country to provide information in clarity, transparency to everybody, but also internally to allow the different entities to work together, share information through this platform in a centralized way, and also to provide the ability to keep tracking on everything that's going on, every data that is used in our reportings can be tracked basically through the platform. Also, in December of 2020, the country updated its NDC, and it includes as one of the goals that it will have operative the climate transparency platform. So that was also trying to provide more importance to this platform and make it sure that it has to be done. Since the beginning, the conception of the platform was basically with a mitigation focus, but in the process, the minister wanted to be more broad about the platform and including also adaptation. And back in April 2021, with an executive decree, it also incorporates adaptation to the platform, making it a platform not just for mitigation, but for all climate change, with a different view that was more integral, more cross-cutting, and trying to embrace different aspects, not just mitigation. Then in November of 2020, the project started, and the basic strategy right away was to build upon advances already made. The project was conceived in 2018, but starting late in 2020. Those two and a half years, a lot of things happens within the country, and the important is this project is going to start building upon what the country has been already progressing. Also, using the technologies available to understand which platform which way we want to develop this platform in order to be able to keep improving over time and not just fix it for one project specific. We work hand in hand with key stakeholders, understanding that the ministry might have one view, but it's important to have these consultations and make it a platform that serves different views and different entities in order to be very successful and also to be optimal to what the country needs, not only one ministry. And also identify these opportunities to build synergies with other initiatives that were already going that may have similar scopes in different areas and try to incorporate it in the project so the project can actually uh, be the umbrella under which all the initiatives can operate and can reflect their results. The project had five main components. The first one was about creating the institutional arrangement for the MRV system. The idea, well, basically is to make sure the arrangements are formal, are between entities and not between persons that change from administration to administration, that are very solid and very clear on what is the relation between the different entities and how it is this information used to provide the information required in the enhanced transparency framework. The second component was a set of tools to guarantee standardization, consistency, and transparency in the way the country develops the information, processes the information, and report. It's very important because from administration to administration there can be changes, but the important is to have this consistency and try to keep improving and not start from zero when there's a change. The third component is basically a mechanism to ensure participation and engagement of all the stakeholders and everybody. It's important to have this kind of mechanism that allow the platform and all the work the ministry does to be a reflection of the reality of the country and not just one side. Also allowing different sectors of the society to have a voice, to be heard, and also to provide information, to provide inputs, and also be part of the work we're doing in trying to tackle climate change. The fourth component is the one that's more visible, that is the climate transparency platform, is where all the work we are doing can be reflected, can be shown, can be seen by everybody. Because many times there's a lot of work, but it goes backstage and people cannot see it. This is important to have this platform to showcase all we're doing, all the progress we're having, and also what we need to do, and also receive through the platform inputs that can help us to keep improving. The fifth component is the capacity building program, and it was a key element because in the past we have developed web pages and different functionalities, but it's it was developed as one-time thing for a project, and that's it. The idea is to keep it going, to make it something that it's useful, and therefore there's a need to keep going, and that people can understand how to use it, how to maximize all the opportunities that it brings, and also how can it help them in their work to facilitate what they're doing. So this capacity building program was important for the platform to continue to run well and to actually be successful in their main objective, which is provide a platform that helps the country to move forward and implement the enhanced transparency framework. The the first component provided the country with different options. It helps to move forward different agreements between the Ministry of Environment, Mi Ambiente, and other institutions that are very important in the process of developing the information needed for the reports, the BTRs and different reports, and tracking commitments in the NDCs, etc. And these agreements were specific. The team worked with technicians from both sides, try to get this agreement done, understand what each side has and needs, and put it all together in one document to be signed by the maximum authorities of both entities to make sure this keeps going beyond one administration. Also, within the Ministry of Environment, there are different departments that have different roles in the information that needs to be prepared. So a ministerial resolution was developed to improve specifically the quality of the data for the LULUCF sector based on what was the need. We can keep moving forward, but it's important to have very uh, clear roles, responsibilities, and a way forward. So we develop a roadmap on how we're going to, as a country and as a ministry, going to move forward, trying to improve the quality of this data. The second component, basically the project tried to provide very useful information in different ways. We prepared technical guides that showcase different elements of the platform, what you can do in each component, what you can find, how can you use it, and how can these different elements combine to provide a full experience within the climate transparency platform. Also, user manuals, both for external users and internal users, to make sure they have all the information in these manuals on how to get done everything they want to do and they can do, and they can understand what is their role. A set of procedures to understand how can the job be done, what are the criteria to either approve or reject some information, how to do it in an easy way, so it can help the use of the platform for everybody. Also, the platform itself was designed in a way that was easy for all the user. The user experience was very important for us. So it's a platform that anybody can enter and can find information as easy as possible. Has a lot of information. Try to organize it in a way that everybody can find what they are looking for, and also invites you to explore even more. In the third component, the project developed a series of sessions with different audiences, understanding that different sectors and audiences have different expectations, and it's different the way you can reach out to them. So we develop these sessions, try to understand and give them information, also receive information from them. We had sessions basically in two sets. The first set was initially in the project where we said, okay, this is what we want to do. This is the scope of the project. This is the idea we have, and we share with them, and they gave us inputs on, okay, how can we improve it, what we should do, what do you like, what do you don't like, and can be changed that early in the process, so we can incorporate that vision and those comments in what we are going to do. We had sessions with different actors. For example, we have a session with people on communications. This is very important because we want everything we do needs to be communicated. And, we as technicians and climate change sector, we don't understand clearly what is the impact, what a reporter is looking for, and how communicate that. So that session was very important. We also had sessions with the academia, trying to reach out to them. What's important for a professor, a researcher? What's important for students? What kind of information they are trying to look? How can we facilitate that information through the platform? And so on with different type of sectors and areas to try to reach out to all and also get these inputs that help us to improve those details that are very important to make it a platform that is not imposed with the ideas of one ministry, but it's really built among everybody that participates. During this process, we also received information that was very, very important about the platform. And the truth is, the platform was conceived to be a digital platform to provide access to everybody. But there are areas in the country that do not have access to internet. So therefore, the project is limited there. So in this part, uh, we decided, okay, we can do basically two things. One of them is develop some material that was on paper and try to reach that audience that don't have access to internet with this kind of material, and also take note and put it as a lesson learned and as part of the process to improve the platform. And we include that part in our CBIT-2, the second phase that we hope to start soon. Try to improve. Okay, now I need to address that part because it's true. There's people that will not have access through the platform as it is right now. Uh, Also, we develop a series of videos because we understand sometimes you give them a document to some people like 500 pages, they are not going to read it. It's important to give this information in a video, short video, 2, 3 minutes, that give them the information about general aspect of each mode, and they understand, okay, here I'm going to find what I want, and then they go deeper into that mode. uh, Also, these videos, we also develop them in different languages, Spanish of course, but also we include audio from different languages of our indigenous people so they can hear it in their own language. And also for those that have uh, people with disabilities and cannot here, there's also subtitles on each video, trying to make sure everybody can get access to this information and feel part of the process of developing the platform. That was the first session, first set of sessions. Then we have at the end of the project a second set where we came back and we showed them here. Here's what we have done based on what you have provided as input, how the project has changed, how it has incorporated your views, your comments to validate what we have done. So they also understand, you know what, I was invited the first time, not just to hear, but also to provide information, and it was taken into consideration and was used to improve this platform. And that was the second session, set of sessions we had at the end of the project. And also it helped us to create that sense that everybody, this platform is not from the Ministry of Environment only, this for the country, and it was built uh, among all the participants on these sessions. The fourth component, it's the platform itself. It was developed in modules, different modules for different areas of work within the climate change topics. We have modules for inventory, this in hay, for our reduce your footprint programs, RENE. We had also adaptation modules, vulnerability and risk, monitoring and evaluation of adaptation. Also, we have registry of projects, registry of all action, whether they are mitigation actions, adaptation actions, or cross-cutting. We also have modules for tracking means of implementation. We have one specific module to track the progress of our NDC, and we have a module, uh, the Knowledge Hub, to provide information to a public that maybe is not uh, related to climate change, doesn't understand it that much, but wants to know more, starting from zero. In that hub of knowledge, they can get information in the most basic way, simple as possible, and they can start building their knowledge. And then in the process of participation, they come with more information and they can provide better input. The Each module, it connects, we try to connect it so the information that is provided for one module doesn't have to be requested again for other models. It can be shared between models. Try to avoid that duplicity that many times happen when one team requests information and then another team within the same ministry requests the same information. Try to avoid that with the use of the platform and connecting each module between them. And also try to prepare reports. Use this information, this data, to create reports specific for supporting the reports the country needs to provide to the convention, but also reports to decision makers within the government, and also reports for that general public that wants information in a graphical way. They can download the information and use it either for research or for just trying to verify the information the country is publishing. The fifth component, the capacity building program, the project decided, you know what, we're not going to create courses, online courses out of nothing because it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of different, uh, there's a lot of things to do and deciding which course we're going to take. So in order to try to reach everybody and make the best use of the resources we had, we said, okay, there's online courses in the GSGMI, was one of the platforms that we understand. They have courses, they're very good, they are very well designed. Let's not create that from zero. Use what there is and help providing different actors access to these courses so they can learn in a platform that already have very well documented courses that are very good. So we used that and we provided help for over 40 participants to have access to these courses. Also, we had some specific courses like using drones. It's important to verify data on the field, understand how to use drone. The project provided drone and also provide capacity building on how to use it to verify the information that sometimes you see in a map. You can go to the field and with the drones, you can actually verify that information. And also on different types of standards and norms. And as you can see, most of the people that participate in these programs was women. We tried to keep it as balanced as possible, and the team was conformed by 50% women, 50% men in a process that was also competitive to make sure we get the best professionals available. This slide basically summarizes how the project was developed. Uh, we started with the signing of the PCA between UNEP and Wetlands International Foundation. That was the one was the implementing partner, the other the executing partner. We start activities in January of 2021. The first part was basically rearranging and seeing how to adjust the project that was conceived 3 years ago. Then we start with an initial workshop. We start confirmation the team, the project team that included programmers, communication specialists, gender specialists, and of course, climate change specialists. Then the first set of consultation period and mapping those key stakeholders to make sure they participate in these sessions. After we get that information, we start also with the institutional arrangement between different entities and to start designing the system with all the information that we get from these sessions. Then we develop the platform that was launched the first phase in February of 2022. That's basically the landing page, the main page was launched that day. And then we start testing the different modules. We had 4 modules to develop. We start testing them, making the necessary adjustments. And in that part, we have the second sessions. This time, more than consultation, it was to present the information and make sure we capture their inputs and put it together the way they wanted. And finally, after all was tested and was functioning, we developed the guides and manuals for each module and each of the functionalities of the platform. In that process, we also developed the capacity building and promotion. Uh, And that was also part of the second set, not only show them this is the platform, but also take the opportunity to say, okay, use it. Let's use it together. Let's see if the guides and manuals are clear and understandable. Let's see if the put it to the test right away with you to make sure you know how to use it and it's functioning very well. And on this slide is basically the concept that the Ministry of Environment has on the platform that takes information, general information on the country, like inventory. It gives you emissions from different sectors and activities. This is national. That information is key to understand where you need to act for mitigation purposes. You also have the M&E, monitoring and evaluation of adaptation, that give you the equivalent with indicators on how we are adapting to climate change and show us where we need to improve in order to adapt and increase resilience. With these two modules and information they provide, decision makers can then develop policies, strategies, plans, programs in order to reduce emissions and increase resilience. And these policies, programs, strategies should trigger projects, specific projects that actually reduce emissions and increase resilience. And these projects should register in the national registry so we can keep track of them, we can monitor how the progress. Also, once you have the different actions, you need to understand, okay, how are we going to implement? What are the means of implementation? And there's what the registry RENME enters to understand the finance, technology, transfer, capacity building. We have different set of actions. Do they have the resources to be implemented or not? Who's providing these resources? Who's giving us that support or is being developed with national capacities, with national resources? All that information can be tracked on RENME, and it also helps bring together the public sector action and the private sector action to make sure our reports can include not only what the government does, but also what private sector is doing in climate change in order to tackle either reducing emission, increasing resiliency. Those efforts, those initiatives should be part also of what the country reports. And these two modules, the RENA, Registry of Actions, RENME, Registry of Mean Implementations, help us to gather that information. Now, the actions and the resources should be aligned with our NDC. And that's where the model of tracking comes together and says, okay, I'm going to track our NDC. I'm going to show what are the commitments, how we're progressing. But it has to connect with RENA and RENME to make sure if we have these commitments in these sectors, we should have action in those sectors. We should have most of our finance in those sectors. And it helps to track whether what I'm doing is moving forward my NDC or is completely away from it. And then I can update, adjust my policies, my strategies to make sure it helped me to achieve the goals in my NDC. And then we have two more modules that are similar but more specific. In the case of RENER, the Registry of National Emissions, the Reduce Your Footprint program can give us information on emissions at corporate level, at product level, very specific which companies in which areas are emitting most. It's different from SINHEI because SINHEI is national, is more broad. This one more specific and help us giving us information specific. Okay, the banking sector. What are the emissions of the banking sector? What are the emissions of the supermarkets? And that kind of information can help us also to make more specific policies to address climate change in those areas. And with the system of adaptation data, we can also have similar information, more specific in by area. Okay, how is the climate change impacting this specific zone? Not only country, that's good to have, but also specific zones. So people can understand how it's going to be impact in the future by climate change. Is this zone going to be more rainy or more dry than before? It changed across the country. It's important to have that information specific and as specific as possible by area. And that's what the system of national adaptation data provides. And finally, we have two slides. One showing what were the main challenges for the project, and it was very constant change, which is sometimes normal, but sometimes it's too much change. And that's part of what we faced. A lot of changes. We had a view of what we wanted, the climate transparency platform, but we were not specific on how to work. And there were usually constant changes. Also in personal, there were changes. The pandemic was also a challenge. We were starting in 2021, building a team together, work together for the first time uh, from the distance. It was a challenge. Also, the country had a lot of initiatives going on. Try to avoid these clashes was one of the challenges. How we overcome them? Well, we work together with the Ministry of Environment to identify these initiatives. Then we work with the teams of each initiative to understand what they're doing, what they're trying to achieve, whether there's a clash with the CBIT project or not, and how can the CBIT project can complement each initiative and can reflect that result in the platform. Also adapting to changes, understanding what's the priority. We want to develop this platform, what we want to achieve with this platform, and then everything else we can change it. We can. That's why we decided, okay, let's go to do uh, to develop them in modules. So anytime there's something new, we can add a module, or we can modify one module without changing everything else. Uh, we also learn by doing. We had programmers that knew nothing about climate change, and we, as climate change specialists, we knew nothing about programming. We had communication specialists that also was not used to climate change uh, language and all the information and the terminology. He had to learn, we had to learn from them how to communicate, how to use different language, how to use inclusive language as part of the uh, gender action plan. It was learning, everybody was learning by doing. And the platform want to create it, the project want to create it and before and after. Before the CBIT, well, the information was stored in individual computers for each technician. The computer is damaged, the information is lost. And now, thanks to the CBIT project, the information is securely stored in databases, in servers that can be secure. Information before was shared via USB, CDs, paper, different uh, stakeholders provided information in different ways. Now, thanks to the CBIT, we have the platform and all the information can be shared online with data that can be fully tracked, understand which user entered the information, if it was changed, when exactly was changed, who changed it, why it was changed, who approved the change. That is a big difference. Also, uh, before we had individual and personal queries, we basically call a friend in a different institution that might have the information and can provide me that information. I make the call, and everybody was trying to get someone to answer the call and provide information. Now with the online registry, the idea is that each institution register and updates its own information. We only have to access the platform and we get all the information. If there's any data that we need more clarification, then we can call. But we also know who to call because it's registered who is the user that entered the data. So it's a lot easier that way. The same thing happens with means of implementation and support received. We went from calling everybody, understanding, okay, who can give me information? I don't know. I start making calls and try to put together all the puzzle. Now, an online registry is there to support that part. providing all the information, and only clarification needs to be done with individual calls. So that's part of what the CBIT goal was, and that's part of the objective. That's part of what we achieved. Definitely, there's a lot of things that we need to improve, and we want to do it. That's why we are in the process of starting CBIT2 soon. But basically, that's the overall scope of what the project was. So that's the end of my presentation. I thank you and also invite you to visit the platform and see what it has to offer to you. Thank you.
Juan, thank you so much for this great presentation, very extensive. I think this is an excellent example of an integrated, not only a platform, but an integrated system, right? And how through that center point of the platform, you mentioned you are providing support, data support for inventory, capacity building, not only through the platform, but also, as you mentioned, I thought it was very interesting with the capacity building and the courses and trainings for using drones, which is true, is very necessary for some sort of data collection. Or I think you mentioned as well the how you are using the platform also to identify support needs, upcoming projects that can be born through new policy that in turn is fed by increased or enhanced information within the platform, and how that is also going to make it easier to track new projects from the beginning in terms of capacity needs, investment needed, support needed, etc. It was really interesting, and I'm sure our colleagues will have several questions. I myself have a couple of questions as well that I will save for the Q&A. And I'm thinking it will be very good as well to have a follow-up session where we can see the platform more up close, perhaps have some time to ask some more technical questions or operational questions, especially in terms. I'm thinking myself because because I was also involved in developing the climate transparency platform. So I'm thinking also in terms of time that was estimated versus real time that takes to build these extend systems, right? Or cost associated. Some of these, I think that some of these practical questions are also quite useful because many of our colleagues are working also on similar objectives and developing these monitoring systems, and these tracking systems are one of the one thing that countries are normally seeking for. So again, thank you so much for this great presentation and for showing us all the progress that has happened in Panama. We're going to proceed now with the second session. Before going to the presentation on what are the next steps now for Panama that Juan has very well already prepared and also given us a good context. We have one recorded message from Ms. Ligia Castro, which is also involved in the CBIT Panama project, and she is also the UNFCCC focal point. So I'm going to share my screen and share the message with you before the presentation. I'm sorry, colleagues, there was apparently a problem with the audio. I guess you couldn't hear. Sorry, because I couldn't really fix it. Didn't know how to fix it. But as I mentioned, I hope that you have that the subtitles were clear in English, and I will upload the recording as well as the presentations and the recording of the whole webinar today in the climate transparency platform. I will share a link after the webinar so that you can have it. You can have all the documents. And I have also shared a link in the chat prior, so you're welcome to check it in the days after today's webinar. After this message from Ms. Ligia, we're going to go back to our colleague Juan, who is going to tell us a little bit more about this, about how has the CBIT project impacted Panama and impacted its national MRV systems, especially in relation to submission of national documents, next steps with the CB2, as Ms. Ligia had indicated. So Juan, once again, hello, and over to you.
Thank you, Alejandro. I'm going to share presentation. Please let me know if see it.
We can see it. We see the Excel now. Sorry, the PowerPoint.
Yeah, I think it's not this one. Share again. Give me 1 minute.
Yeah, no problem. I see that you were sharing the PowerPoint screen. This is the yes, there you go. And I think if you share the screen, there you go. Perhaps now you can swap the.
Now can you see the presentation?
Now we see the other the other page. So if you go to the configuration, I know because I have had the same issue before. So if you go the configuración de visualización in the middle there is a button to swap the two screens.
Now?
No, if you have to go to that button on the top that says configuración. It was right to the left.
Yep. Configuration, have audio.
I think if you share your screen again, Juan, I can tell you the button. It's the button right to the left to this one where you are in. It's not the one finalizar, it's one right to the left of it.
Okay. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Change configuration.
No, it's if you go back to the presentation where you were. And now click on the present. There you go.
Okay.
Now we can see it.
Yeah. Basically, this presentation will show the impact it has and the next steps. I'm going to do it backward. I'm going to start with the next steps and then summarize the impact the projects had. And also, well, basically, where we're trying to accomplish the next steps for the CBIT project that we want to start soon. It's to basically improve the CBIT platform focus on improving on the MRV system, and also improving the institutional arrangement. It's very important for us to get that finalized, and also we need to create new arrangements. Also, we try to improve the cybersecurity of the platform, and we also want to create an mobile app for the platform as a way to reach out those that do not have sometimes access, because was part of what it was comment in the consultation process, that we have a registry of projects. Projects are done in areas where we don't have access to the platform, so I cannot take my computer to the field and gather information and complete the forms. So we want to create an app so people can go to the field with the app, can fill the forms, and then when they move back to a zone where they have uh, access to internet, with one click, all the information can be uploaded to the platform, and also a lot of people can have access that way and can have offline functionalities that help the platform to be more useful. A second part, it's about including IPPU and waste sector in what we have done. The first CBIT was focused on the sectors prioritized by the country were energy, agriculture, and LULCF. Now we want to include IPPU and waste sector. We also want to improve the linkages with different platforms that have information, so we can extract that information directly from those platforms. And the third component, it's focused on improved decision making, trying to make sure that all the data, all the information that we have is used by decision makers. It's taken into consideration in all the decisions that are being made. The country that's been moving forward with that, especially in the financial sector. But we need to improve that part and make it more clear on how we measure whether the information on climate change is being used or not in decision making. Uh, the first component specifically wants to make a more robust and improve the platform. Also, the institutional arrangements, make sure they are functioning and they are complete. Also, we need to keep improving the capacity to use the platform. The tools are there, but we need to make sure everybody knows how to use it and actually does use it. And we also want to make it more gender and culturally sensitive. We include in these next steps, try to reach out to the indigenous people in order to have functionalities or have a space where we can get to them and share with them information, and they can provide us information, and we can incorporate them in the decision making of which project we're going to develop, how we should develop projects, what information should be available of what they do, how can we learn from them and their knowledge, and how can we access to them. So that's also part of what we want to do in these next steps. With the second component is basically including IPPU and waste in the process. Also, make sure that mitigation actions and also adaptation actions can be used and registered. The first phase of the project focus on mitigation actions. We now have to develop the forms for adaptation actions. uh, Also, we want to uh, strengthen the capacity, build the capacity and the module for climate finance, not only to track international support, but also to track how much of the national budget is being used for climate change, how much of the private sector is being spent in projects that have components of climate change, to make sure we have all the information, not only what we receive from international support, but nationally what we are doing and how can we track that findings. And also the linkages between the different modules and the different platforms. Also, we want to also improve a lot the knowledge hub with different support, and that's part of what Ms. Ligia was saying. After the CBIT ended, we received different support and we improve, and we have now available two uh, courses in Spanish, one on climate change and one specifically for the approval of projects and how the evaluation of projects from the environmental section is done. So we now have those two courses that were custom made for Panama, uh, trying to improve that capacity in the knowledge hub. We want to create more of that. Also involving more the academia to make sure we have different diplomates on courses on climate change that are trying to, with the project, support the development, and the universities can set these new courses and can be sustainable over time. Here we can see basically the whole uh, design of the platform, what we want to achieve with the first CBIT, which is the first 5 modules there. We had the landing page, the main page of the platform. We have the SINHEI module that is for inventories, specifically focused on energy, agriculture, and LULUCF. That was the scope of the project. Also, we had the registry specifically for mitigation actions and means of implementation from international sources, and the monitoring and evaluation of adaptation. Now, after the CBIT, uh, it was very impactful, and we were able to show all we were doing, and we were doing a lot of things, and it was key, the CBIT project, to show what we are doing, and it helped us to access more support. And that support was always linked to the platform and what the CBIT project did. That's how we improved the M&E module that was for adaptation indicators. We get support to include loss and damage indicators. We get support from Euroclima to develop the tracking module that now is available. Well, it finished the project in April of this year, and you can enter and you can see the NDC of Panama, what are the commitments, what are the indicators, what is the level of progress on each indicator. That's what's very important. And the platform and CBIT create this stage where everything can be put together, where those countries that support us can see what's that support, how it's being reflected. Where can I see that money I'm providing, what it's doing? Now with the platform, they can see with their own eyes how it's being used, where it is. Next stages, well, we have to keep developing and improving the platform. We get support to the vulnerability module, but it needs to develop more functions and different sub-modules. As I mentioned, the SINHEI module, the inventory module, needs to include now IPPU and waste. We get support from IDB to develop part of the National Registry of Emissions, the Reduce Your Footprint program. For corporate and municipalities, we still need to develop the Reduce Your Footprint program for products. That's going to be very important, because what we want to do is make sure Panamanian products can show their level of emission, and that can influence decision making when someone's trying to buy one product, can see this one has a high carbon footprint, this one has low or neutral carbon footprint. Then they can choose not only on price, but also on the impact their decisions and their money is having on climate change. Similar to that, we have to develop the reduce your hydric or water footprint that is similar to the carbon footprint. We have to develop that part so people understand when they are dealing with one corporation or one product, they can understand, okay, this product is using too much water or it's actually saving water. In the registry of actions, we need to develop the forms for adaptation and cross-cutting actions. The knowledge hubs, we need to there we want to do a lot of things. We want to basically translate the documents into short versions, more visual for younger audiences. Uh, let's say you have an inventory report that has 500 pages. Someone very young and that doesn't is not familiarized with the inventory, is not going to read 500 pages. Uh, we want to make sure we can do it 10 pages, a very small summarized report, very graphic that invites people to see, okay, I see the information, I want more, and start that path to increase their knowledge. Also, we want to link with different platforms from the Minister of Economy and Finance with the Secretary of Energy to get the information and the data directly from their platforms. That's something we want to do as part of the next steps. But the main impact, now going to the impacts, has been, I think, two. One has been the capacity building in terms of how the country has been improving, and this project helped them to improve even more and faster, accelerate the process of improvement, and also in developing each module, each functionality, it kind of forces you to understand, okay, I need to understand exactly how it works to tell the programmer how I want it to run. And that also forced everybody to go ahead and review the MPGs, review the guidelines of the IPCC to make sure all the information is correct, is there, and we're doing things as those guidelines say. Uh, it has helped us so much that we are in a few days, if everything goes right, going to be publishing our first BTR, and also the impact of visual. And I cannot stress this enough. It's important for anybody who donates to see that what is going on, what I'm doing, what's going to, what my money, where is being used, and what are the results. The platform created with the Civic project allows that, allows them to see with their own eyes what I'm doing. My support, it translates in something that I can see. uh, so that's very important to attract donors, also to report very transparently, this is what was done with your support, and also help us to understand whether we need to do something, like there's something missing, maybe one model needs to be developed or one model needs to be updated, improved, and try to reach out to everybody. So we have finance can be seen in the platform, but we also have people who have no knowledge can see themselves in the platform with a knowledge hub and start growing from there. We have the inventory that probably is the one that's more advanced. We have them. We have also support other areas like the registry of action now have it's being developed a registry for actions that want to participate in Article 6 markets. Part of everything you can see it it provides you that visual part that you can see everything you are doing, and you can see all the pieces of the puzzle, and you can see if there's one missing, you can add it, or you can turn around the different pieces to make sure all is together. So that's one of the main impacts, and the capacity building and the ability to visualize what you're doing, what the donors can also visualize what they are supporting and helping to do. So basically, those are the two main uh, impacts the CBIT projects it's had. The third component, the one that is about, it's the most challenging, I think, of what we want to do, and it's making sure all the data, all the information we have, and we have a lot of information, is being used by decision makers, strengthen their capacities. And it's very important in this context because the administration is changing on July 1st. So probably CBIT-2 will have a huge impact on that new administration, and can be like right away, like it fell in the right moment to make sure this new administration can use that information, can use this data to develop new policies, to improve the situations, the arrangement between organizations. Uh, so we expect a lot of impact in that area. And it's very challenging because how you know whether they're using or not the data. That's one of the challenges. We want a way, and we have to figure a way to track with a couple of indicators whether that information is being used or not in decision making, whether the decisions for, let's say, building roads are taking into consideration climate change data, the climate change scenarios, whether information on health is using the information on climate change, how precipitation temperature is going to change in different areas. We need to figure out how to track that and make sure decision makers use the information that is available. That's the challenge, and that's one of the next steps we want to take with CBIT-2. It's very challenging, but it's very, very important because probably it's the most impactful if we achieve that. If we are able to make sure what we are doing from the climate change sector can permeate and get to decision making. As you can see here, it's in different areas: institutional arrangement, decision making, uh, courses with universities, at all areas, because that's very important. It's not just about who is now here, it's who's going to be here 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years from here. The CBIT wants to have that impact long term, and this is one of the key elements of that CBIT-2 project. And I think that's it. Thank you very much, and I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Juan, again for a great presentation. Again, very, very explanatory, and it gives a lot of insight into what are the next steps now after the for this, especially for this platform, as you mentioned, including of new modules, including of capacity building, etc. We're going to open now the floor for Q&A. So, colleagues, if you want to write in the chat or unmute your microphones, you are more than welcome to do so. And Juan will be answering whatever questions that we may arise in the best of our capacity. I wanted to ask, if you don't mind, I can start myself, Juan, because I had one question from the first presentation, because it is clear the linkage from the platform to existing regulation and how the platform can support the creation of new and future regulation, especially regarding climate transparency. And I wanted to ask if prior to the CBIT project, was there already a well-established regulation, especially in terms of institutional arrangements for data collection? Are there any formalized data collection protocols, or was this also perhaps on a more sectoral basis and you had to sort of work on this at the same time as you were developing the platform?
Thank you for the question. And actually, it was one of the most challenging parts. It was for the project, and it still is one of the challenges to finalize these arrangements, because from the technical part, well, advanced very quickly, but when you get to the legal part of formalizing, it was very, very, very slow. But the country already had some great institutional arrangements in place. The Executive Decree 100 that was in October of 2020 for the mitigation, specifically for inventory, had a lot of details and was very good institutional arrangement. That was the basis also for what we're moving forward. Like we already have this decree, now we want to get on more detail. And that was the arrangement we were providing. Like, okay, the executive decree states that you need to do this. Now with this arrangement, we're going to get the detail on how you're going to do that. So yes, the country had a lot of that in the inventory and mainly mitigation area. But there were other initiatives that were working also institutional arrangements. So we kind of get together and try to move together on that area.
Thank you, Juan. And then I imagine now through the platform or now after this, is there any additional regulation that is making explicit the use of this platform as a data collection mechanism?
Actually, there's two things there. One in the Executive Decree 100 in October, it it creates the platform in the legal corpus of the country, and it states that is needed. During the process of the CBIT project, uh, uh, a process for approving uh, GCF project was developed, and it required that the project first has to be registered in the platform. Uh, and the third part is the country, this government, this administration presented a project of law of climate change that it included one specific chapter on transparency that the project helped to put together. Sadly, the law has not been approved, and with the administrative changes, we have to wait to see how it's going to end up. But in that law, we are incorporating a lot of the transparency and specific the climate transparency platform requirements.
Interesting. Thank you. Thank you, Juan. We have a question in the chat from our colleague Hannah from Sudan. She says, in your presentation, you mentioned the guide manual, external and internal. Do you mean a UNFCCC manual or other organization as external? And the internal one developed by Panama? And if that's the case, who supported you to do so?
Okay, the guides and manuals are for the use of the platform, and we have different types of user. We have external users of the platform and internal users. The internal users are mainly from the Ministry of Environment that review and approve all the data that gets collected in the platform. So we have the external user, that's basically anybody that enters the platform, create a user, request access to a different module. Then if it's a data provider, that external user needs to be approved. Once approved, this external data provider can input data, and we have a manual that specifically tells this user how to register, how to provide data. Then we have the internal user manual that tells the Ministry of Environment, okay, once that external provider has give you data, how can you review it? How can you reject it or approve it, depending on the criteria? And all this within the platform. So the user manuals are external. Is basically anybody that is external to the Ministry of Environment that's going to uh, provide data to the platform. And this is very important because the data that you can see in the platform is not the data that is being provided. It can be provided, but until it's reviewed and approved, it will not be shown in the platform for everybody.
Thank you, Juan, and thank you, Hannah, for your question. It's good to see you in the webinar as well. Colleagues, you are also welcome to unmute yourself, raise your hand, continue writing in the chat. Let's wait a little bit for more question. In the meantime, Juan, I had also because I have been writing a couple of questions because I am quite interested. But you mentioned as well disclosure of carbon footprint associated to different Panamanian products. Can you tell us a bit more about this? Like, do you have perhaps plans to work with the Ministry of Commerce or Chamber of Commerce or what sort of intervention are you planning for this disclosure? Like, could it be like a labeling in food products, for example?
Yep. And thank you for the question. It is very important because it shows how this civic project has worked in Panama, and it's worked as an enabler. We try to enable different initiatives to facilitate their development through the platform and to facilitate access to everybody to understand what we're doing, how we're doing it. So we have a team within the ministry that is the team of Reduce Your Footprint. They are working to set standards based on ISO standards for labeling and for uh, project life cycle, the measuring the footprint. And the idea, they are also working with the Ministry of Commerce to set this new ruling on what is the national adopted standard, with the idea to have a labeling for products. They are starting with a couple of products on a pilot base. And the idea is exactly that. Each product has a label that shows their footprint, and it was measured following this standard. And the different users that can see, okay, it was measured using the same standard. So there's standardization, and they can see two different products, different footprints, and they can incorporate that in their decision making, not only the price, but also their carbon footprint.
This is great. Thank you. Thank you. Really, really interesting. And as I mentioned earlier, it really looks like you are supporting the creation of a whole enabling system. It goes beyond just a data collection platform.
Yeah, and for us, it's very important because once you do something, there's always questions about how you do it, where can I get more information, and we try to provide that information, but also share that information, that how you get these reports. You have to share information, you have to make calculations, you have to put all together. The platform, the CIV project, helps that process and helps it to be seen. The visual part it's been the most impactful because now people can see. Before it was, okay, what you're doing. I see only documents. Now you can see the platform, you can see graphs, you can see indicators, you can see the numbers, how they are improving.
Yeah, indeed. And to have this visual cue or like visual support, it really helps. And also, like you said, to really show the impact, to show where the money is going from, and what are the benefits that are being created through it. So it's really helpful. There is one more question in the chat. Our colleague Herath says, what were the tools and techniques that you adopted to obtain and assure continuous commitment and involvement of not only government, but also especially the private sector?
Well, thank you for the question. That's a very good question. Actually, from the government standpoint, it was very important that the Executive Decree 100 October 2020 creates the platform. So, regardless of which government is there, you have already this decree that says you need to create and sustain this platform, and all it has to be done. So that was very important, but also was very important, and Ms. Ligia said that, sorry about the audio, but uh, once the CBIT project ended in November of 2020, there was the commitment, and the Ministry of Environment was able to get different supports, like I mentioned, Euroclima, IDB, and others, but also internally with a project with the budget of the Ministry of Environment. It was a continuation. It kept the team together and tried to keep running the platform. And at the end of the day, that's the idea, that the team is internalized by the ministry, and it can sustain without the need of other projects. Obviously, when you have that support, it's better, but at least you can keep that core together to keep the initiative and all that's been built together. For the private sector, uh, the reality is the platform is supported by national and the Ministry of Environment budget. So for the private sector, we have different initiatives that involve the private sector, like reducing footprint. That's very related to the private sector. They work together with them, and they have an award, basically recognizing their effort to reduce their footprint, and that's how they get them together in engaged in this initiative. Other areas like inventory, really the private sector sees and doesn't see themselves very involved in that part. So it changed from part to part. Uh, but we are trying with the platform and making it visual, try to get them to see where they can be part of this. That's why in the registry of actions, we allow them to register their actions. And what we included is, okay, we're not going to allow registry only from those projects that are ongoing or that already have finance. If you have an idea of project, you can register and you can specifically say, I do not have the finance and the resources to develop this. Then it can help the ministry to have this portfolio of projects that they, as ministry and the government, can say, okay, let me go and try to find you the resources. So it can help the private sector that says, I have this project, but I do not have the resources. You register it, and we can, as government, have that on mind. We can see that project, we can have this portfolio, and then we can try to get you access to this finance. So that's how we are trying to get them on board with different initiatives, but it changed from very different areas.
Thank you so much, Juan, and I hope that this was helpful, clarifying. I think we have one more question in the chat. No, it's just thanking for your response. I have one last question, and we can go to the last survey before we finish for today. Is in short, what advice, what key advice do you have for other people, other government members or transparency practitioners that are going through a similar process of building a national-wide data management platform, be it for tracking, for inventory, for information dissemination, etc.?
Okay. Basically, it's to be as flexible as possible. We build it in modules because it changes from time to time. So it allows to grow and to change parts and not as a one thing. I think that's the most important. And again, working together, communication is very important, not only with the ministry and the climate change directorate, but with everybody, different initiatives, different projects, different ministries. That communications allow you to get the bigger picture that helps you to develop a platform that is very useful for everybody. So it's important communication with everybody that can give you very important inputs, and also to build whatever you're building, make it flexible.
I couldn't agree more. Actually, also from our experience here within the Climate Center, Copenhagen Climate Center, on building this transparency platform. I can say the same, especially regarding to flexibility. It can be so different from country to country or project to project. Depends on the key stakeholders, depends on the sector, the data collection needs as well on each sector. It can really alter a lot how these platforms or how these tools work. And from my experience, the way that we planned the platform in the beginning and the way that the platform is built now has also changed a lot based in a big part as well due to feedback that we have gathered from all of you. So it is it is a continuous process as well, I would say. It's never a one-time thing and then that platform holds forever. It's always continuously under maintenance, to say. Thank you so much, colleagues. I don't see any more questions or hands raised. So we're going to stop the Q&A for now, but just letting you know that you are, again, more than welcome to contact us, contact Juan, or write in the Climate Transparency platform. If you have any questions, if you have any follow-up questions that you would like answered, any curiosity or any questions that are interesting in the scope of your project, you're more than welcome to write, and we will do our best to answer you. I will share all the materials and links to the platform after the webinar so that you can always access it easily. And now for the last part of today's webinar, we would like to do a quick survey to gauge your satisfaction with this webinar today, with the experience that we have learned from Panama on their CBIT project, and also to get some insight from you on what other areas you would like to see in this webinar series in the future. So I'm going to share my screen, and you will be able to see the instructions to access this survey. It's a survey via Mentimeter, and all you have to do is either use the QR code or go to www.menti.com and enter the code 67678417. So we will wait a couple of minutes for you to get in the system and to get in the survey. And I cannot stress it enough. Your participation is really useful. Is what's give us also your insight and your suggestions for the next webinars. And we really take these insights into the calendar of upcoming webinars that we're going to have during the year and in the months to come. So again, you can use the QR code with your phone or with your laptop. There is also a link to the survey in the chat. To go to the first question. From where have you, from where have you been joining us today, and which country are you based? We see that we have today is our fourth webinar, and it's actually the first webinar that we have with LAC, and you can really see that we are missing our colleagues in Asia this time because it's a little bit too late for them. But thank you all for assisting today, be it in the morning or in the afternoon. I am missing a dot here in Copenhagen. That's where I'm based in Northern Europe. But we can see a lot of colleagues in Central America, in Africa, and Europe. Let's go back to the next question. How satisfied are you with this webinar? And thank you so much, all of you who are, if you are satisfied, this is our goal, and we what we want is to share the good practice stories with you. Is is really no more than that. We know that we are all working in very similar topics and projects, and now especially this year, the deadline for the BTRs are there, and we're all going to be very busy with the BTRs if we're not already. So again, thank you for tuning in, and we're looking forward to next installments and to hear your suggestions, your questions, and your ideas or insights of what would you like to have covered on future webinars. We see it would be great if we can see the platform live. This is a very good point, and this is something that I also had in mind to do in future webinars. We would like to have a follow-up similar as the one we had with Georgia. In Georgia, where we can go to this climate transparency platform that Juan has been telling us about, and get a live demonstration, see how it works, see a bit more on a technical matter, the ins and outs, operational questions that I mentioned, more tools and trainings, do's and don'ts in first CBIT projects. I think this is a very good one, and it may also be something that we do via webinar or via Q&A sessions, live Q&A sessions that we want to host in the platform in the future. M&E systems, GNG inventory. This also, for example, GHG inventory, we can take a look as well in this transparency platform in Panama. How are the GHG inventory models working in this platform, for example? More sharing experiences with other countries, information systems and data collection, etc. Thank you all for your feedback, by the way, and we really take this feedback and use it for the next coming webinars. And what aspects of the webinar would you like to improve? On my side, I apologize again for the video without audio, and I can say that I will try to improve that for next time. I did not how to solve this issue with the audio this time. Longer webinars and more interactions as well. This is well taken, and perhaps we can also have the implementing agencies with us next time and have some conversation between the three of us, the national project, the implementing agency for a regional perspective or global perspective from CBIT-GSP team, and we can have some sort of a panel discussion. But thank you all so much for today. Thank you for your feedback. Really thank you so much for tuning in today. I want to thank especially Juan and Ms. Ligia and the whole Panama team for their time during these days, for great presentations and great level of detail on the CBIT Panama project. So I will keep in touch with you, as I mentioned, for sharing all the documents after the webinar and sharing the next webinars coming in the next month with you. I don't know if there's anything else from your side, Juan, before we leave for today.
No, only thanking you again on the CBIT-GSP for the opportunity and for these webinars that help us all to learn from each other. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Juan, and thank you so much, all of you. I hope you have a great day, a great evening, if it's coming soon. And thank you all. See you all in the next webinar for the CBIT Conversation series. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, thank you. Ciao.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Alejandro. Bye.